Warning: the following video contains explicit language, which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready?
Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Hope you're having great weather where you are. It's okay here, I guess, a little bit, just a little cloudy, but you know, it ain't quite as cold as it was yesterday, and so people are, you know, they're hanging around in the parks and stuff like that, but you know, I don't know. I guess the weather's pretty much going to hold to this for the remainder of the week here. So, anyway, I have a couple of videos here to play. And this first one is from Kyle Kulinski. And he's going to be talking about some interesting polling data that's been coming out from the DNC and Democrat voters. That's, you know, showing that the mood is changing inside the Democrat Party to show that they're more interested in having people fighting for them instead of trying to cuddle up with the right-wing MAGA, okay? And so let's go to that here and we'll discuss that on the other side.
It's happening. I keep telling you it's happening, but the evidence keeps pouring in that it indeed is happening. Now, one of the things I've been saying is there has been a mass liberal awakening in this country where you used to have the left-wingers, you know, the Bernie bros, and they were at odds with the liberals, the resistance liberals, who were more Hillary Clinton-pilled, right? And there was like a civil war inside the Democratic Party where it's like, who's going to win out here? Well, now, over time, what we've witnessed is, because of Trump getting in office again, because of the resistance liberal politicians failing to do even basic resistance against Trump, enabling Trump, people like Chuck Schumer, for example, Alyssa Slotkin, Hakeem Jeffries, those same resistance liberals who in the past hated the Bernie bros, hated Bernie, thought he was maybe sexist, right? Thought he was maybe racist. Those people are looking around and they're going, well, hold on now. The only people I see actually fighting back against Trump and actually offering something different, it's Bernie, it's AOC. It's the left flank of the party that I used to be angry about all the time and act like they weren't loyal Democrat soldiers enough. Now they're looking going, they look like the most loyal Democratic soldiers. And it's the centrists, it's the corporatists, it's the Chuck Schumers of the world who are failing everybody by not knowing how to fight and not standing for anything, right? So the liberals are waking up and they're becoming leftists. Okay, now, we've already covered a poll where Kamala was number one in the poll, I believe, but then right behind Kamala in a solid number two position, and by a kind of a wide margin too, it was AOC. So AOC went from Nowheresville to second place in the 2028 Democratic primary polls. That's crazy. Now, by the way, for a brief moment, you had Cory Booker surged. Why? He did the 25-hour speech on the floor of the Senate, and it was a gesture where people thought, oh, thankfully somebody's fighting. This is great. But he immediately undid all that hard work because he voted for like a bunch of Trump's cabinet picks after that. He voted for Charles Kushner, who's the dad of Jared Kushner, who's a corrupt goon. He was the only Democrat to vote for it. So he blew it too, just like Gavin Newsom blew it by snuggling up to the right. A lot of these people in this era have blown it massively, right? Well, now we have a new poll. AOC seen as face of the Democratic Party, and it's not even close. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is seen as the face of the Democratic Party, according to new polling, in a coefficient Survey conducted from May 7th to May 9th among 1,462 likely voters, 26% identified AOC as the face of the Democratic Party. Another 26% said there is no one currently leading the party, while 22% chose other. Ocasio-Cortez was far ahead of other listed Democrats. Coming in a distant second was close ally Senator Bernie Sanders. The pair recently went to various states with their Fighting Oligarchy tour. Representative Jasmine Crockett placed third in the survey with 8%. So I believe it was AOC 26%, Bernie 11%, which you could basically put those two together because they represent the same thing. So 37% for the left-wing vision. And then Jasmine Crockett, who she might not be as left-wing when it comes to policy as AOC and Bernie, but the way she fights, that codes as she's super left-wing. I have issues. She's taken some crypto money, questions on that, question on her position vis-a-vis Israel. So I'm not perfectly in alignment with Jasmine Crockett. But when she fights the right, that sort of fight, I'm not backing down. I'm going to come after you aggressively. I'm not going to give an inch. That codes as super left-wing. So in a way, you could say, you could almost add her number to the AOC and Bernie number to show that people want fighters and they want left-wingers, right? And so you're looking at what? You're almost at half. You're at 46, 45%, whatever it is. If you put all those numbers together, that's a big deal, bro. That's a big deal. Former Vice President Kamala Harris came in fourth with 6%. Following her was Pete Buttigieg with 5%. I'm surprised he's that low, to be honest. I'm surprised he's down to 5%. Hakeem Jeffries, 5%. Cory Booker, 4%. And Gavin Newsom, 2%. Man, he imploded. He was viewed as the front runner. He was viewed as like the number one guy for sure, the guy to beat in the primary. Now he's down there at 2%. Quote, currently there's no consensus on the face of the Democrat Party, as a majority of voters either give the title to AOC or simply say there is none. Coefficient concluded the survey has a margin of 3.27 percentage points. The poll is only the latest sign of Ocasio-Cortez's rise in her party amid President Donald Trump's second term in the White House. In an April survey by Yale University, Ocasio-Cortez came in a close second to Harris as Democrats' top choice for a 2028 candidate. Harris scored approximately 28% support, while Ocasio-Cortez drew 21%. The liberal firm Data for Progress also released numbers in April showing that 55% of Democratic voters in New York would back AOC if she challenged Chuck Schumer in a primary. We are witnessing a meteoric rise right now, y'all. We are witnessing a meteoric rise right now. And the reason why this gives me a lot of hope is because it truly is the first time in my lifetime that you get the sense that the Democratic base is going, any Democratic politician they see, they're going, you need to be further left and you need to fight Trump harder. Those are the two things that they're like, you got to do these things. You got to fight Trump harder. You got to go further left. They are yearning for our own version of the Tea Party, right? Our own Trump revolution. Trump hostily took over the Republican Party. They are waiting for somebody to do the same with the Democrats, to kick out all the professional losers, to change the vision, to have a core mission, right? What's the core mission of the right? Blame the immigrants, blame trans people, give more money to the wealthy, and warmonger. That's the core mission of the right. The core mission of the left has to be end the corruption. The billionaires are the problem. End the warmongering, right? Bring back the Constitution. No more ignoring due process like the Trump regime is doing. We have to have those competing visions. And for the first time in my life, I feel like the Democratic base is so fucking ready. And there's so many signs that they're all about this shit, bro. If you're picking AOC, Bernie, and Jasmine Crockett as the top three for, these people represent the Democratic Party, that is so different from back in the day where it was like, I don't know, John Kerry is the face of the Democratic Party. Hillary Clinton is the face of the... It's so different. It's so different. So, we'll see. I'm curious to see how many Democratic politicians are clever enough to adjust to the new reality. Well, I'm shocked Gavin Newsom hasn't figured it out by this point. There's a lot, like, I think like Pete is going to figure it out and know how to position himself because he's relatively intelligent with how he maneuvers. But beware, right? Beware, because you can find out who the real deal is in a number of different ways, but very important is their policy record. Very important is what they were saying when the chips were down. Like that's it. So you saw Gavin Newsom showed his true character when he immediately was like, let me go snuggle up to Charlie Kirk and sloppy Steve Bannon on my podcast and let them walk all over me. That showed what he's about, right? And so some people let you down in this moment. Some people will not. It'll be the opposite and they'll give you some hope. But this is a very, very hopeful thing. And I love that as days go by, your average Democrat starts sounding more and more like you and me. And that can lead to some good positive change in the future, assuming we have free and fair elections. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time
overall, you could say that what Kyle has showed us here is hopeful. That, the mindset of the Democrat Party is such that, had Donald Trump not been president, the Democrats would not be as unified right now as they're becoming against the right wing. So we can thank Trump for being president, if for anything for that. But these lukewarm Democrats who have, essentially moved closer to the center or further to the right, they're going to be ignored, in the days to come. And we're already seeing that happening to some of these people already. So I know that AOC is not a fan favorite inside the Democrat Party. I mean, not the voters, but I'm talking about the people that run the party, okay, and Democrats in Washington, D.C., in House and Senate, because they think she's too much of a firebrand. But the thing of it is that's what people want to hear, okay? AOC has always been on the progressive side of the Democrat Party, same as Bernie Sanders. And so people are more interested right now in listening to them because they're looking for hope, they're looking for fight, okay? And right now, anyone who speaks out against Trump is going to get more attention. I don't know, if other people like Hakeem Jeffries going closer to the left is going to work for him, because look, people want someone who has been generally always on the left side right now, and AOC has never had to waver in her time in Congress to shift for political favor. She's always been on the progressive side from the very beginning. So generally, you can trust that what she's saying is exactly how she's feeling. She's not going to shift, okay, her stands to come closer to the middle or to become more right wing. She's always been on the left side, and that's, we can trust that what, her being there as she is right now is genuine. We can't say that for other people in the Democrat Party, because they might see that, oh, geez, maybe I better start talking more like AOC to get more votes back. Well, there's talking like her, but then there's actually meaning what you say. That makes the difference. If voters don't think you mean what you say, they're not going to vote for you. And right now, Trump has created so much anger in this country against him that right now, people are not going to be going for the lukewarm candidates. They're going to be going for the extreme sides. I know that's ridiculous, because that's only going to split politically. The divide between the two parties is going to widen even more, and that's what happens. When you walk down that path of being extreme in your views and selling it as the answer to all your woes, okay, that's what happens when that kind of thing, because when one side goes further to the right, the other side wants to go further to the left, and anybody in the middle is going to get dropped down into that valley standing on their own. Okay, because they're going to get left behind. So right now, America is choosing a side. It kind of looks like, like a setup to a civil war, which it is. I think on a political perspective, it's a civil war where the left is gearing up to fight the right at every opportunity. Look, today's vote on that big, beautiful bill that got passed today, all the Democrats voted against it. That's an example of what I'm talking about the divide. When two parties can't come together on a bill and pass it, and it passes only because one side voted for it and the other side didn't, that's not a good thing. Okay, I don't care what anybody says. Just because they got what they want doesn't necessarily mean that's what the public wants. Okay, the majority of this country did not want that bill to pass, and yet it did. That means the minority in this country got what they wanted. The majority, once again, is taking a bite out of the shit sandwich. And That kind of half-assed dipshit thinking, that selfish crap that they do, the Republicans, is the kind of thing that's going to gut this country's heart out. Without thinking, they just dropped a whole shitload of people off of Medicaid, or Medicare, okay? That means a lot of people are just not going to get it no more. And why? Because they have involuntarily been selected to sacrifice so the rich can get tax breaks at the end of the year, okay? To have those extended. Because they got that in 2017, 2018, I guess, under the Trump 1.0. He gave them that big tax break. Well, now it comes due this year. They're going to have to renew it or it's going to go away. Well, they're going to renew it. Okay, and the steps they've been taking with Doge and all that shit and this now, that's all been to get money to pay for the fucking extension of the tax break. That's a big fucking hit to our country's deficit. All right, that's going to be a big fucking hit to that. And so, without thinking, the Republicans stood together and they voted for it. Because they're the majority party right now, controlling both houses. But all the Democrats voted against it, and it's not unsurprising that it went down this way. But it is kind of astounding that after everything that's been done, and that after the MAGA base has been fractured, basically splintered into different segments, and people are either leaving it or creating their own thing. Okay, especially now, with everything happening in the Republican Party, they still stood unified against it. This is the reason why they can't go to town hall meetings. This is the reason why, is because how are they going to face their voters when they tell them, I voted for this, when all their Republican voters out there are losing their Medicare? Do you think these people are going to want to be within screaming distance of these folks after that? No. You see, now the Republican voter base has become more distant from the people they voted for. That's the other gap that's happening right now in the political system in our country, is that the right wing and the right wing voters they're separating. Their voices aren't being heard. They've been screaming for, since Trump started his bullshit, okay, about don't affect me, don't fire me, don't do it. No, they don't care. They went ahead and did it anyway. Every fucking Republican voted against it. Voted for it, I'm sorry. Every fucking Republican voted for this bill. And it's such an abomination that they gave it its own fucking name. So that's something that they want it to be stapled in the history books, and believe me, it will. But not because it's famous, but because it's infamous. People are going to remember that bill, just like they remembered the deal. They're going to remember that, not as something that was good, but something that was very bad, that hurt the party, probably even for fatally. Who knows? When this thing begins and people start finding out they don't have what they used to have, they're going to say, when did this happen? And then they're going to find out, that's when they pass this big, beautiful bill, that's when it happened. And when they find out that their Republican person that they voted for it, the shit's going to hit the fan. It's going to hit the fan. This is going to cost the Republicans in the midterms here, because the Democrats, who are of the mind that they're going to fight the right wing, are going to bring this thing up all the time. This is what your big, beautiful bill did. It was a big, beautiful mistake. And, the speaker supported it, and all the Republican people voted for it, and only the Democrats stood against it. And it's sad, but, I feel like the worse the Republicans do, the better the conditions are for Democrats. It really is, and we're seeing that now in numbers in the polling. Like I said, that Kyle's showing, the anger out there is real. The need to fight back is real. All right, this is not exaggeration. This is not, you know, fantasy. Okay, the numbers are showing it, that people are really pissed, and the gap between those that are pissed and those that aren't pissed is like way wider than even the gap in DC. So all you got left supporting any of this shit is like, you know, what, the 20% of the country that still sides with Trump. All right, and that's it. But the rest of America would rather see Trump gone than watch him continue what he's doing by, you know, hacking this country to bits. And that's the only thing he's been doing. Now, you know, Musk is being is fodder now for the press. He's acting like a petulant child because, you know, his name means crap now in the business world. His company, Tesla, is crashing and burning, and he's trying to brag that it's still doing well. And the proof isn't there, and you know, he's just basically he says he's not going to spend the money he's been spending in politics anymore. That tells me that, you know, he's out. Okay, he's out of the fucking game, and rightly so. But, and here's the thing, nobody should forget what he did while he was doing Doge. Okay, nobody should ever forget, because a lot of the stuff that he did was illegal. A lot of those things that he did was illegal because it went over the heads of Congress. He did what Congress is supposed to do. All right? And so on that score, he still has to answer for that. If we ever get a democracy back in this country again, and we have a president who's willing to track this fucker down, that's really what we're going to have to wait, you know, at that point to see if he's going to answer for that. If he doesn't, if they don't hold him accountable, then that means billionaires in this country will be able to repeat and do the same thing again without consequence. And we don't want to give billionaires any more incentive to continue to kick the legs out from under this country. We have to start holding these fucking people responsible for the shit that they do, starting with Elon Musk, okay? We couldn't touch Trump. I don't think we're ever going to touch him because he'll die before he'll ever see justice. But the thing of it is that we got to start somewhere. Elon is in his 50s, okay? He's still young enough where he could face the consequences of his actions, and none of us should care at all about how much money he's got. Right now, his popularity is lower than snake piss right now. It's even lower than Trump's. So it would probably be easy to throw him out to the wolves, okay? It would probably be easy to do that, and the country would feel like, you know, great that he's going to get in trouble for it. So it would be easy to get rid of him and hold him accountable. But we're not going to be able to do that just yet. Not while Trump's still there. And so we have to do things. And I just feel like it's time that America really does stand up and do what's necessary. Do the right thing. Okay? You're being asked. You're being asked by me as a veteran, by other veterans. You're being asked to join with us. Okay, to stop this guy, to get rid of this guy, to push having him out. Okay, we got to do that, because if we don't, we're just going to green light more of this shit later on down the road, no matter what party's in office. Okay, and if you're mad about it now, if you're sick about it now, so am I, then let's deal with it. Let's not just push it down and bury it underneath food. Okay, you have to become assertive and do something with that. It's like, my therapist would say, when you have emotions like this, you can't just sit on them. You got to do something with it. Okay, there's healthy ways to get rid of to deal with those emotions. There's a lot of different things you can do as a citizen to fight back. Okay, get involved with protests, get involved with writing letters to your representatives to try to get them to listen to you, calling them, whatever. Get more active to deal with that anger. Okay, just don't sit there and dwell on it and let it eat at you like a fucking cancer, because eventually it's going to destroy you inside. And do you really want to destroy yourself over a fat lunatic like Orange Trump? Okay, do you really want that? You're worth more than him. Okay, you're better than him. You don't need to lay down in front of that fucking clown. Okay, the son of a bitch has got it coming to him. You know this, I know this, everybody knows this. Okay, So want to be part of history that's where you can tell your grandkids what, say, look, yeah, I stood up to that son of a bitch when he was doing shit back in 2025. Okay, you know, take pride in that you'll be able to tell your kids that you weren't with that when they learn about it in school. Okay, about 2025 and Trump. You can tell your kids all about that and what you did to partake in trying to remove a festering mole in the White House. Okay, that's what you can do. You don't, you know, I mean, there's so many different things that you can do. And if you don't know what to do, you can always ask somebody who is doing and ask them what they can do. Okay? I know you probably think, oh, they're going to want money. No, you don't have to donate money to go out and protest. Okay? That's on your time. That's on your expense. And you can do it however you want to do it. It doesn't require donating to a fucking thing. Okay? Now, if you have the money and you want to donate, fine. But, you know, it would seem like money can't speak. Okay? I think they would prefer that they hear your voice than throw money at a problem. Because, you know, throwing money at a problem rarely ever helps anything, you know. At least that's what my father used to tell me. So, you know, people, we shouldn't allow ourselves to get inundated with depression and stress and stuff like that while we watch Trump eat away at our lives. Okay, we got to fight back. Fight for what's ours. And we know what that is. Okay? Fight for what's ours. All right, let's go to a commercial break.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Roxy Sugar, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
President, your first 100 days has far exceeded that of any other presidency in this country. Ever. Never seen anything like it. Thank you.
Congratulations on this truly historic first 100 days of your administration.
This is the 100th day of the most consequential, historic first 100 days in the history of this country.
In your first term, you were courageous. This time, you're not just courageous, you're actually fearless. You've probably assembled the greatest cabinet ever.
But I say I wear a lot of hats. It's true. Even my hat has a hat.
Since you've been your last 100 days, which saved, are you ready for this, media? 258 million lives. 258 million lives.
They all hated me in my first term, and now they're kissing my ass. You know, do you know? It's true.
So what do you think a Trump government would look like, Senator?
It would be chaos. Donald Trump is a con artist.
They kiss my ass.
Thank you.
It's true. They kiss my ass.
Thank you for that.
And it usually starts with the president.
Over the next 100 days, we're going to do much, much more.
Stephen Miller designed it. Donald Trump demanded it. Kristi Noem and Holman ordered you to do it. Illegal deportations, mass raids, rounding up people who are here legally, arresting citizens, family separations, snatching students off the street for tweeting, detention without hearings, shipping them to foreign prisons, deportations defying court orders. When government agents like you abuse your power, when you trample civil and constitutional rights, you can be held personally liable in civil court. You can lose everything, and Trump can't pardon you. That includes ICE, that includes CBP, contractors, DOJ, even the White House. Yep, every last Trump official pulling the strings. Even, well, especially the lawyers. If you think you're safe behind badges and titles, you're wrong. You do a hard, dangerous job. You're vital to our security. But what they have you doing now isn't law enforcement. It's just lawless, and you'll pay the price for following illegal orders.
Have you heard about the salt trick that's making men last for hours in bed? If not, pay close attention. Seriously, salt turned my husband into a bull in bed. He always had a sleepy worm and even used those little pills. But after he started doing this simple 15-second salt trick under his tongue, he tossed the pills away. The transformation was incredible. The worm turned into an iron anaconda, and even at 61, he's putting guys in their 20s to shame. I've never seen anything like it. Apparently, the salt turbocharges blood circulation down there by 34%, making it thicker, harder, and lasting longer than ever before. It even works for men over 70 or 80 because it's all natural. My friend's 78-year-old husband had been suffering from limpness since he was 43, and now she says she has to beg him for a break because he's making up for all those lost years. If you want to see how it works, my husband made a free video showing step-by-step how any man can do the salt trick at home. Just click on the link in the description or on the first comment pinned. Imagine making your woman scream, roll her eyes, and have her legs shaking tonight, then waking up tomorrow morning ready for another round with the tent pitched. As a woman, I can guarantee your wife will thank you for learning this little trick. So click on the link below and watch it while it's still online, because I'm not sure how long my husband is going to want to keep sharing the secret.
Oh girl, but I'm a few percent of your love, so I will leave you in your side you have lost. Isn't the last time I can tell
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it. It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Okay, this other video I have is from U.S.-China War. It's a video that a blog that I usually watch, but I don't really put up here because it's more, you know, news friendly, I think, than you know, viewer friendly. But this one here talks about Amazon exiting the United States, and I think we should see this one, all of us, because it's one company that is going to be the forefront to a whole bunch of other companies that are going to follow the same fucking pattern here as these tariffs continue. So let's watch this video here. We'll discuss that on the other side.
Goods quickly escalated into a political powder keg. A new report from Punchbowl News says that Amazon is looking to avoid the blame for raising prices as a result of President Trump's new tariff. This is a hostile and political act by Amazon. The president is clearly angry. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said she had spoken to him about it this morning. In early 2025, Amazon ignited a political firestorm by allegedly planning to show consumers just how much Trump's new tariffs were inflating prices. A bold Amazon proposal to display the true cost of tariffs on product listings, including 145% on Chinese imports and 10% on most other goods, quickly escalated into a political powder keg. When Punchbowl News leaked the plan in April 2025, the move drew immediate fire from the White House. President Trump personally called Jeff Bezos, and Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt denounced the transparency effort as a hostile political act. Amazon rushed to retract the idea, but the spark had already ignited a broader blaze. This moment wasn't just about price tags. It became a flashpoint for power struggles, trade wars, and the shifting architecture of global commerce. What followed wasn't a press release, it was silence. In Seattle, elevators once running late war rooms slowed to a halt. Strategy meetings vanished from calendars. No sessions were scheduled beyond June. Amazon's headquarters, the nerve center of global e-commerce, was going dark. Quietly, the company activated Project Silver Compass, a secret initiative to relocate its entire global command structure beyond US borders. The reason was simple but seismic. Tariffs now threatened over $13 billion in profits over just 36 months. And the death blow came when the de minimis rule, a policy allowing duty-free entry for low-value imports, was revoked. That rule had been the backbone of Amazon's marketplace. Without it, global supply chains fractured, costs soared, competitors abroad gained the edge. Amazon wasn't just cornered by tariffs, it was being forced out of its own home field. Inside Amazon, the response was swift and surgical. Project Silver Compass moved into its next phase, finding a new global home. Former Chief of Global Logistics, now tasked with redrawing the future of Amazon from scratch. The shortlist was clear. Singapore, Ireland, Canada, and the United Arab Emirates, each offering a unique blend of stability, connectivity, and strategic value. Singapore promised speed and precision. Ireland, a veteran of corporate relocation, offered minimal regulatory friction. Canada had cultural alignment and trade flexibility, but it was the UAE that emerged as the front-runner. The Emiratis came prepared. Their offer, a 10-year tax exemption, a custom-built logistics district in Dubai, a sovereign data treaty, and relocation support for up to 40,000 employees and their families. Secret negotiations began. While American policymakers were still arguing over the definition of reciprocal, Amazon was drafting escape routes. As talks intensified behind closed doors, the temperature in Washington rose. This wasn't just a company moving, it was a quiet referendum on US economic policy. And Amazon, once the crown jewel of American innovation, was preparing to crown another nation. As negotiations with foreign governments progressed, tensions in Washington escalated. Reports surfaced that Amazon had internally tested a model to display tariff-related costs directly on product pages, aiming to show consumers how recent trade policies were affecting final prices. The response from the White House was immediate. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt criticized the idea as politically motivated, while some members of Congress raised the prospect of antitrust scrutiny. According to sources, President Trump personally called Jeff Bezos, voicing concern over the company's direction. Then, on May 6, 2025, Amazon confirmed it would relocate its global headquarters outside the United States. This move was not limited to a secondary campus or partial reorganization. It involved the full transfer of corporate operations, including logistics, finance, and executive leadership. The decision marked a significant shift in how multinational firms respond to evolving trade environments and policy uncertainty. For Amazon, it reflected an effort to maintain global competitiveness amid rising costs. For policymakers, it underscored the broader challenge of balancing national economic strategy with the realities of a globally integrated marketplace. The announcement sent immediate shockwaves through Seattle. Amazon stock initially dropped by 5%, reflecting market uncertainty, but quickly rebounded as investors began factoring in the potential cost savings from lower taxes and tariff-free operations abroad. On the ground, however, the consequences were far more severe. Seattle's housing market, once inflated by the tech boom, began to slide. Small businesses that had depended on Amazon's workforce for foot traffic and income saw a rapid decline in revenue. The city's tax base began to erode, threatening funding for public services and infrastructure projects. Thousands of Amazon employees were suddenly faced with life-altering decisions. Relocate to a new country under expedited terms, seek employment elsewhere, or wait for further clarification amid uncertainty. City officials caught off guard scrambled to respond, exploring emergency incentives, job transition programs, and alternative partnerships to fill the economic vacuum. But the pace of Amazon's withdrawal was decisive. For Seattle, long considered a model of tech-driven urban growth, the departure marked a turning point. It was a stark reminder of the risks tied to economic overdependence on a single corporate anchor. While Seattle grappled with economic fallout, Amazon accelerated its transition abroad. In the Gulf, new infrastructure was rapidly deployed. The company's cloud architecture was duplicated in Abu Dhabi, ensuring operational continuity under sovereign data protocols. Fulfillment centers in Bahrain and Oman were outfitted with automated systems and solar power arrays, reflecting both technological advancement and a pivot towards sustainable logistics. Amazon's engineers underwent specialized training in Islamic finance, Gulf regulatory compliance, and data localization laws, adapting the company's operations to the legal and cultural context of its new host region. Simultaneously, Amazon initiated a complete overhaul of its global supply chain. U.S. ports, once central to its distribution network, were de-emphasized in favor of more agile hubs across Asia, the Middle East, and Europe. New routes were drawn and partnerships renegotiated. Emerging technologies, blockchain for traceability, AI for demand forecasting, and robotics for warehousing were integrated into this updated logistics framework. The shift wasn't just geographic, it was strategic. Amazon was no longer merely exporting goods. It was rebuilding a supply ecosystem designed to withstand political volatility and operate beyond traditional borders. Amazon's relocation did more than shift the center of its own operations. It redefined the rules for global business. Within weeks, other major U.S. corporations began recalibrating their strategies. Apple quietly increased its lobbying efforts, seeking tariff exemptions on critical Chinese components. Tesla, already building a battery facility in Indonesia, submitted a formal application for preferential tax treatment to insulate itself from US-imposed costs. Even Walmart, historically rooted in American logistics, began re-evaluating its global sourcing network, exploring diversified routes and foreign manufacturing partners. A signal had been sent to boardrooms around the world. Relocation was no longer theoretical, it was viable. The unspoken message, if Amazon could leave, so could anyone. Back in the US, the political response was swift and divided. Lawmakers demanded investigations. Consumer advocacy groups decried what they called a tax-fueled offshore escape, and labor unions accused Amazon of abandoning American workers. But underneath the outrage lay a deeper question, one that policy, politics, and protest all circled. What does it mean to be an American company in 2025? In a global economy defined more by supply chains than borders, and more by tariffs than treaties, corporate identity itself was being renegotiated. The old assumptions no longer held. Amazon's departure was not an isolated incident. It was a symptom of something far deeper. What began as a strategy to impose reciprocal tariffs in the name of American industry ultimately triggered a corporate exodus. Instead of revitalizing domestic production, these policies drove one of the world's largest companies to rebuild its empire elsewhere. While Washington debated trade metrics, cities like Dubai, Dublin, and Singapore quietly positioned themselves as the new epicenters of global innovation. These hubs now host not only Amazon's next chapter, but potentially the future of multinational enterprise itself. And what is left behind? Not stronger factories, not booming exports, but vacant headquarters, shrinking tax bases, and a brain drain of elite talent. Amazon's move wasn't just a corporate decision, it was a realignment of the global economic order and possibly a warning shot for what lies ahead. So we ask you, was Amazon justified in leaving? Should US policy shift before others follow? Can America still lead in a world where capital is borderless? If these questions matter to you, subscribe for more. And don't miss our next report where Tesla, Apple, and Walmart may be heading.
You know, there was nothing wrong with Amazon showing their customers what they were paying for in relation to the tariff tax on their purchases, okay? People needed to see that because otherwise it would be too easy for Trump and other people in MAGA to say, oh, it's false, it's not happening, you're not paying more, it's just the stores, it's just the companies charging you more. No, Amazon wasn't going to allow that to happen. They were going to tell us, saying, look, we're not charging you more, but we have to charge more because they're hitting us with this huge fucking tax, okay? And we have to pass it on to the customer because our profits would be taken away if we had to pay for all that. We'd be the ones being punished here, and then we wouldn't exist anymore. So that's why we have to charge this much. Okay? Also, they understand that by telling people this, their sales would drop. So, what's the company to do but to, pick itself up and go move somewhere else to get around the tariffs? I mean, they know they're not going to make any money here in the States now. Okay, so what's the point of staying here? So they're doing what I would do if I was running a big corporation like that. I'd say, okay, what's the best thing we can do here to avoid these taxes and still make money? And it would be to just go start somewhere in another country, which they have already done. I think there's another video that shows where they're located and stuff, and they've already been set up for this because they knew in advance that if Trump won the election, tariffs were going to come. So they had been starting this last year. They were starting this setup process in another country. So Amazon is already there, basically, and they're closing down their American offices here. So, and so you'll probably see that we'll still be charged for what we buy from them, but Amazon won't have to rely on just American consumers now. They can rely on everybody else that'll be buying more from them, okay? So they'll still be around. Walmart will be looking at the same thing. In fact, in Canada, I read an article today that Walmart in Canada is hurting bad right now because they're showing the parking lots are empty because Canada sees Walmart as, buying American. They're not shopping there, okay? They're going to other stores, local stores, okay? But they're not going to Walmart so much anymore now. Also, another thing that's happening is, name brands like Kraft and Heinz. People are skipping buying those brands because they're the more expensive brands, and they're buying the unknown brands, okay, or the store brands instead. Now, they're saying a lot of reasons why that's happening, but I think the basic reason, the only reason that really counts, is that people are looking to spend frugally. They're trying to not overspend. So, if a bottle of Heinz ketchup costs, hypothetically $5 or something, and the store brand is $1.25, what do you think they're going to do? They're not going to buy the Heinz. They're going to buy the regular one, the general brand one, okay? And so That's what's happening. And this is not new. This is what's going on even under Biden, even under Trump 1, 1.0, even under Obama. For years, people have been trying to go for the cheaper brands, not because the companies that they thought were great aren't so great, or the tastes aren't the same. No, it's because they're going for what's affordable. Okay, that's what they're doing. Everybody's doing that now. And these big companies that have spent 2-3 generations on the name brand, everybody's always buying something made from Kraft in their refrigerators. Okay, that's coming to an end. People's shopping habits have changed in this new world that we're in. Okay, and these old-timer brands out there are going to fade away. McDonald's, okay, is another one that's suffering right now. Yeah, probably more so than others because of the fact that, during the campaign, Trump had McDonald's and was into that, and I think that pissed a lot of people off, so they won't shop and eat there anymore. But McDonald's is hurting. All right, their prices are higher than they should be, and a lot of people are not eating there because, again, McDonald's, the arches, the golden arches, are synonymous with the American flag, and in other countries, McDonald's is, we're not going there because that's supporting the United States. So they're hurting there, for a lot of different reasons. So we're going to see a lot of things change in the world, and I would say 70% of it is probably because of Trump. The other 30% is because of people's spending needs. Okay, they're not getting the money they need to be able to live the way we used to live during the 70s and the 80s, okay, and the 90s. Okay, those days are gone. All right, we're living in a new time now where we can't think like that anymore. We can't put ourselves in those old habits. People my generation, we have that old habit of always going to those same places all the time, but we got to stop doing that because those same places, those same items are racking us over the coals now. It's not so fun. Okay, we're being ripped off, and so we're being forced to have to buy the general items, the smaller items, the cheaper items, and making do with that. Okay, and buying very little of the name brand stuff. I mean, I haven't really bought any name brand stuff in a long time, to be honest with you all. Okay, I'm trying to think, what do I still buy that's name brand? Let me hold on here and think here. Jesus, I had to go take a look in the kitchen. There's nothing in there that's name brand. Nothing. I'm sorry. Those brands that I got in there now I'm pretty sure the same ones I've been buying for, the last 5-6 years. Okay, so I really don't buy name brand stuff anymore, and I don't feel bad about it because I know my dollar will go further buying the things I've been buying. Okay, a lot of it's Hannaford. I don't know how many people have Hannaford grocery stores. Okay, I'm pretty sure there's probably cheaper stuff even than Hannaford, but most of what I got in there is Hannaford brand. Okay, but no name brand stuff. No, I don't have any. God, I'm surprised. I thought I had at least one thing in there, like butter, but no, not even the butter. It's just no. It's all fucking anything but name brand, and that goes to show you. People. I think a lot of people are going to do the same thing. So a lot of these things that you see in the store on the shelves, like Campbell's and all that other crap, that stuff is probably just going to sit there, and the spaces for those name brand things is just going to get smaller and smaller as the cheaper stuff grows bigger and bigger. But right now, where supplies are getting thinner and shelves are getting more bare, naturally, there's going to be, a problem with buying even the off-brand stuff because, they're just not going to get as much of it. So I don't know, but like I said, going back to my topic, yes, the buying habits of people in this country have changed in the last 20 years. But like I said, Amazon is doing what it has to do to survive. Capitalism, it goes where the money is. And right now, it's not here. Okay? It's not in the United States, not anymore. Trump's put a fucking brick to that. Okay? He's ruined it. I mean, for the pro-capitalist Republicans that still exist in this country, this should be a slap in their face, because they thought Trump was going to be all capitalist, but he's not. He's killing the whole industry. He's killing the whole concept of capitalism in this country with what he's doing. I'm not saying that capitalism was perfect, because putting profit over what's needed, what is essential, is wrong. Okay? Having healthcare run by the capitalist system is wrong. So there's a lot of bad sides to that. But like I said, the Republicans that are all pro-capitalist, and they voted for Trump, and Trump is doing this and killing the industry, they can't be happy. There's no way they can be happy. I don't care what they say to the cameras, but if they're losing money, they ain't happy. We know how greedy these motherfuckers are, okay? So if Trump is costing them money, his movement, his base, his MAGA out there is suffering, and if they're suffering, they're not going to support him. And that's why MAGA is splintering off into different subsects now. I mean, they're just they're not there in force like they were before. In fact, they're retreating, hiding, ducking for cover, if you will, from the onslaught of Democrats that are so pissed, they want him out. They want Trump out. Okay? And that anger, that voice is only going to get louder as the year goes on here. And I still say that this year is going to be about, the finding out year. Next year, it's going to be about impeachment for Trump. Okay? I think that's really what it's going to be. Because when Christmas comes and goes, and people are just finding out that, hey, last Christmas we had a whole lot more, and this Christmas we got so much less, less than we can live with. Okay, that'll be the deciding factor, I think. Despite all the protests and all the things they're cutting, usually the holidays, that's a no-brainer, okay? Even when the stores suffer because nobody's shopping, okay? When they're supposed to make a lot of money during the holiday season, and they don't, really do that. I mean, it's just, hey, what do you think's going to happen? But when you push the most powerful e-commerce company off of U.S. soil, that's going to hurt. That is going to hurt big. I hate to say. Amazon does a lot of business. I mean, Christ, half the goddamn UPS, FedEx, and Postal Service out there that's delivering packages is all mostly 80% of it Amazon purchases. Now people aren't going to be buying much, because if they get hit with a tariff with something they buy, they're going to cancel the purchase. They're not going to want it. Temu. If you shop Temu, you probably noticed they got this local sale. They have this green bar that goes around, says local sale. That means you're not going to get hit with a tariff, because the product that you're going to buy is already in the United States in a warehouse in some place in the States. Okay. If they have to bring it in from China, as Trump calls it. If they have to bring it in from China, you're going to get hit with that tariff, and it will show up in the bill, okay? But I don't know how long the warehouses are going to have stock. So if you see something on there and it doesn't have that tariff, you better get it now while you have the money to get it. Like if you want to do some early Christmas shopping and you want to get a lot of it online, okay, do that. Get it while you can now, but don't wait too long. Okay, because the warehouses that are holding some of this stuff, it's gonna get empty after a time. Okay, it's gonna empty out quick. So if you see anything on Temu, or what's the other one, Shein? I don't shop that one. But if you see stuff and you won't get charged a tariff, get it now. Okay, hurry up and get it now. Don't wait. Okay. So it's just it's unfortunate. You know, I just started really shopping Temu about maybe not even a year ago. I started, okay? So I feel like, Jesus Christ. I mean, I wish I'd have started shopping on there sooner, because, you know, had some great things on there. You know, got a whole bunch of nice shirts on there, and some stuff for the house here, and, you know, things for the cat, you know, that I could never get for the prices around here. And it's just not fair that, you know, now we'll have to stop buying from there eventually, because they're not going to have enough stuff that's still in the States to ship to you. You know, I don't know. I'm hoping, I don't want to shut down my Temu account, but I'm hoping that once we get that orange blob out of the White House, maybe the next president will do something to get rid of the tariffs, and then maybe Temu can come back, you know, in the States as it was, okay? And then we can enjoy buying from them again. So I'm hoping that'll happen. But right now, while he's still there, I guess, you know, shopping online isn't going to be such a wonderful thing for a lot of us. I know a lot of people, they would just rather buy online, but if you're going to be looking for bargains in the stores, forget it. If you're going to be looking for bargains online, that's going to be difficult. It's going to be slim pickings out there. So, but I wanted to, you know, show that there is hope, and the hope is in the form of the movement against Trump growing in the ranks, and even on the Republican side, there's a lot moving against him. And so this bill that got passed today, the big beautiful bill, is only going to encourage more people to speak out against Trump. So it's not going. It might be a victory for the Republicans, but it's going to be a Pyrrhic victory. Okay, it's going to cost them to have this victory, big time, and they don't realize what that cost is right now, but it's going to happen, and a lot of these people are going to be out. A lot of these Republicans are going to be without their seats, and Democrats will be sitting in them, probably in the midterms, after the midterms. And if the Democrats don't snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, they will be the majority party. So I'm hoping that that's what happens, and that will be the sign of change that we all need to see, because people want the Democrats to fight. Okay? That's what we want. We don't want them to be waffling around, cozying up with the right wing, and trying to pretend that they're with Trump and all this. Okay, we don't want that. It makes us sick to our stomach. What we want is someone that equals our anger out there. That's what we want. Okay? Tim Walz has been good for speaking. I mean, because he's governor. He's been very good at speaking out against Trump in his state. Okay? So I think, you know, people like him and AOC, Bernie Sanders, okay, I think these people really are the focus here of the face of the new Democrat Party. And the other people, they're either going to have to change what they do and follow behind them, or they'll just lose their seats too in time, because people will get tired of seeing these people, you know, kneeling down before Trump. We don't want that. We don't want that. So, all right, that's it for today. Hope everybody has a great rest of the week. And tomorrow's Friday, so the weekend. And subscribe, comment, share, and keep your ears open for health-related issues. And be good neighbors. Help each other out. And just, you know, generally be a source of hope and strength for others. Okay? I'll talk to you guys soon.